Hi， 歡迎嚟到不務正業。Life works in mysterious ways。呢一集我想錄好耐㗎啦，但係一路都未有機會，未有時間啦。咁而我而家 somehow 今日 in this very fine weather， 我有 exactly 1個鐘嘅時間去做呢件事 ，and I am going to do it。I guess 有時係真係有一個 deadline， 有一個時限，先至會令到你的起心肝去做某件事嘅。即係 like imagine if life 係 infinite 嘅 ，imagine if we're not mortal beings. What's the point in anything? How would you find 個 motivation 去做任何嘢？即係點解我今日要起身做呢件事？即係 why not tomorrow? Why now? 即係唔知係咪而家人老咗咧？somehow 係真係多咗嗰種 sense of urgency， 但係呢種 sense of urgency 其實可以係幾 valuable 嘅一件事。即係例如環保咁樣先算啦。其實我從來以前都一啲都唔 environmentally conscious，like why？ 即係小學係有學過，係知道應該咁樣做，咁但係即係 there are a million other causes that 你可以 stand behind 嘅喎，即係 be it human rights or whatever， 即係 how do you pick your battles 咁樣。咁喺我個環保即係 so called 環保 IG page 叫做 nomedicineonadeadplanet 咁樣啦。亦都有解釋過，即係每個人其實都會有自己嘅 trigger， 都會有一個原因令你去做呢件事嘅。咁 for 我其實個 trigger 都幾遲嘅，即係上年啦，嗰排黑雨咧，真係誇張到一個點係，你基本上係會 label it as 一個 climate catastrophe 咁樣嘅，即係笑完即係睇過啲 meme 之後，其實你認真望呢件事係一個好大嘅警號咯。仲要係除咗香港之外，即係其他地方亦都係，即係無論係 floods 啊，啲其他嘅自然災害，其實係氣候災難啊。咁係啦，嗰個位 for 我嚟講就係好似突然之間見到嗰個 urgency 啦，即係喂，你再唔做，即係你再唔 take action，eventually 就真係會太遲咯。咁係咯，好彩今日 on this beautiful day， 我有呢個時間去錄咗呢個 podcast， 所以咁係咯，我唔等啦，即係 today is the day。之前其實同 Juniper 一路有個 idea， 就係會唔會將我哋之間嘅對話，即係啲 Audionote 咧拼湊埋一集，因為其實某程度上錄 podcast 就好似寫日記咁樣。有時聽翻以前啲集數咧，其實係真係我諗除咗個 content 之外咧，錄音呢個 medium 一樣好 interesting 嘅嘢，就係聽翻嗰段時間嘅自己把聲咧，其實已經記得翻晒你嗰陣時係感受緊啲咩，或者係處於一個咩 life stage 咯。我諗唔需要係自己聽翻自己把聲，就算係聽眾聽咧，其實係好明顯，即係嗰陣時個 mental state 係點咯，即係究竟你係處於一個好 alive 嘅狀態啊，定係處於一個比較 reflective、比較 pensive 或者甚至係比較低落嘅一個狀態，即係其實一聽就會聽得出，尤其是你即係 episode 與 episode 之間，即使係 lapse 咗好多時間，但係其實即係你喺例如 Spotify 度聽，佢係緊接住噶嘛，咁所以嗰個對比係可以好大嘅。咁 the same with 我哋嘅 audio notes 啦，即係同朋友之間可能講嘢 message 嘅 audio notes， 其實又係哇，即係你聽翻可能1個月前或者半年前嘅 audio notes， 你係會聽得出當時嘅自己或者當時你嘅嗰位朋友其實係處於一個咩狀態。咁 what's beautiful about this crazy life 就係 life does happen in seasons 咯，即係 OK 你嗰陣時喺一個咁低谷嘅一個位， look at you today， 即係 look how far you've come。 原來當你喺最 shitty 最差嘅日子， things 係真係 can only go up 咯，即係 days can only get better。And they do get better。咁所以 it's just an absolute wonder to be able to witness 身邊嘅人又或者自己嘅呢一種變化啦，或者呢個 journey。And 由始至終，即係我諗我哋個 stance 其實一樣嘅，即係即使呢個 podcast 係冇人聽，其實即係It's one of the best things we can do for ourselves。 正如你寫日記，正如你其他任何嘅 forms of documentation，be it painting 或者 making music， 即係 it's just us trying to document this life and everything within it。 And I'm reminded of 我最近一次去歐洲，去咗 Amsterdam 啦。It's interesting how 大家 kind of 會 generalize 咗話，去 Amsterdam 一定會去 Anne Frank 嗰度啦，跟住即係 kind of diminish 咗佢個 value， 或者講到好似好 mainstream as if 係一個 nothing more than 一個指定動作，但係 to be honest 我自己去嘅時候感受係深刻嘅。我細個從來都冇睇過 The Anne Frank Diaries 啦，細個唔係特別中意睇啲所謂嘅 classics 啦，咁但係我亦都冇咩話後悔或者覺得好似而家先接觸太遲嘅，因為 somehow 我又覺得細啲去睇嘅時候 I'm not sure if 我會 understand the gravity of 呢件事，又或者會唔會有我今日有嘅感受。去到嘅時候其實即係 it's unbelievable how 其實我哋同嗰段時間唔係相隔咁遠咯，同埋 it doesn't make sense but it also makes complete sense 點解呢件事會發生咯，即係 the beauty and the horrors that human beings are capable of， 同埋我諗個 value 在於你知道係真真確確地喺 within these very walls 係有一個 family， 有一啲人經歷過呢一啲 nobody should have to go through 嘅一啲 experience， 所以其實係好沉重嘅。但係我提起呢件事其實係因為speaking of documentation right and writing， 即係 Anne Frank 其中一個帶到俾我相信唔係淨係我啦，帶到俾好多人嘅一個 inspiration 其實就係You just have to keep writing， 即係你唔使 set out to write the greatest novel of our time， 你唔使要 achieve 到啲乜嘢好 grand 嘅 scheme。 All you have to do is write about 你嘅 daily life， write about 你嘅諗法，因為 as ordinary as they may feel to you， 其實你 as 一個 individual in this specific time and space 經歷緊嘅嘢其實 it's very unique 咯。It's very unique but also universal in a way，which is what gives it so much value and beauty， 即係 this one human experience。 咁而佢係真係即係 given 佢嘅 circumstances， 佢依然選擇寫，不斷寫。Like God knows what's happening outside and God knows 真係有好多嘢都係喺佢控制範圍之外 ，but she kept writing。我諗未必諗到好偉大話，我要 document this for other people to see 啊，或者要出書啊。的確佢有呢個諗法，但係 if anything， 即係 I feel like the act of writing， the practice of writing first and foremost 都係為佢自己帶嚟到一種安慰同埋一種 routine 咯 in those very very difficult times。所以係咯 just keep writing， just keep creating， just keep living if anything。I guess 呢集我自己 draft 嘅時候 I kind of came up with 3 major headings。 第一個其實係 a word that I didn't even used to know. I read this in a recent book and somehow Juniper 喺佢嘅 Audionotes 裏邊亦都不約而同地提起咗呢隻字， so it kind of stuck with me。 咁就係 the ephemerality。 就咁 search 佢Google 嘅意思呢，佢就會寫係 lasting for a very short time。 咁所以又或者中文就純粹係解短暫嘅、轉瞬即逝嘅咁樣。咁我第一次一個 remarkable 嘅 experience with 呢隻字呢，就係當我睇緊 The Physics of Sorrow 啦。呢本書係我喺 Amsterdam 嘅時候 pick up 嘅。咁 it is written by 一個 Bulgarian writer 啦，叫做 Georgi Gospodinov。 咁佢除咗係作家之外，佢亦都係即係有寫下一啲 theatre works 啊，其他 forms of writing 啊咁樣。咁呢本書係 it blew my mind， 即係佢嘅 breadth， 同時佢嘅 depth when it comes to covering certain subjects。咁 just very ambitious ideas 同埋 ways of execution， 但係個作者係做到咯。佢個 style 係幾得意嘅，即係 one of the things that 佢好 early on in the book 已經有講咧，就係佢話 I can't offer a linear story because no labyrinth and no story is ever linear。 咁所以 interestingly 呢本書係好多 side corridors 嘅，即係佢會 directly speak to the reader 啦，佢亦都 acknowledge 自己呢本書係好似啲人講話咧，即係會有 tangential thought 咁樣嘅，即係佢完全唔係一個 linear 嘅 story， 佢係會 get distracted by itself，but in the best way possible。 即係即使佢本書係好似一個 labyrinth 咁複雜，有好多 side corridors and everything，but there's still always this single thread 引領住個讀者係同個作者一齊去行，一齊去經歷呢件事。咁講翻 ephemerality 啦 in this book， 喺本書嘅中後段，我會喺度讀佢呢個 chapter 嘅 beginning 嘅呢一小段，因為 the entire thing is relevant and just beautifully written. 佢話 The world is set up in such a way that it looks obvious and irrefutable. But what would happen if, for a moment, we turned the whole system upside down, and instead of the enduring, the constant, the eternal, and the dead, we decided to revere that which is fleeting, changeable, transitory, yet alive. 咁佢繼續佢就話啦，基本上 the religions that stand behind every crusade or holy war will suddenly have the rug pulled out from under them. The old gods were the gods of the eternal in all of its aspects. Is there a god of the ephemeral? If there are gods in the new constellation, they will be exactly that, gods of the ephemeral, gods of the fragile and the perishable, and hence fragile and perishable gods, sensitive, feeling, empathizing. What more can we say? Mortality raises the price and opens our eyes. Throughout 呢本書，其實 Georgi 係俾咗好多我自己覺得係好 unique 嘅一啲 perspectives 嚟嘅，即係一啲 wow I wish I thought of that 嘅一啲諗法。And 喺佢呢個 take on ephemerality, I'm just reminded of 即係 I hope that 我可以揾得翻我哋之間嘅 audio note 啦，但係 it's something that we've talked about as well. I know for a fact that 即係 Juniper 有講過話，其實 you know the ephemeral is beautiful， 即係無論係 rotting fruits, wilting plants, mayflies, all that which is fleeting and ephemeral, these things 基本上 encapsulate life 啦，因為 life 就係 fleeting 同埋 perishable 同埋 ephemeral。但係即係 in our day-to-day life 我哋未必 we don't really talk about these things quite enough， 又或者 we don't give it enough of 我哋嘅 time， 尤其是都市人。我唔知由邊度講起，即係呢件事好似係同香港成個大環境係好唔吻合嘅。In 一個咁 materialistic 嘅 society, everything's like 買樓買金plastic， 即係 always so much plastic, which interestingly 即係 plastic itself 就係 almost the opposite of just natural things 或者 perishable things like soil, like plants, like food, things that will rot. Plastic is going to stay the same for the next 1,000 years. I am not being eloquent, but I don't care. 即係呢個係一個好強烈嘅感受嚟嘅，好個人嘅一個感受嚟嘅。It's just that, you know, 你知你自己嘅 values 係咩，你 relate completely with what the author is saying, and then they look at this city life and you're like, I do wish 我可以有個時間同埋空間係 just being more in touch with this planet, you know. And actually I remember where I was going with this 就係 goodbyes. May and June were the seasons of goodbyes, and somehow it's the most heartbreaking but also reassuring 嘅thing to know that 你自己嘅呢個 seasons of life 係 in sync with 你身邊嘅朋友。一個不約而同我哋都感受好深嘅嘢就係 we don't really talk about 一啲 day to day 嘅 goodbyes 又或者一啲 loss enough。我諗如果攞自己做例子啦，我嘅 most recent goodbyes 係因為我哋個 career 個 training 嗰度其實每3個月就會 rotate 一次啦，去唔同嘅地方啦。And somehow 呢一種 goodbyes 係 it's taken so lightly and 好似 as if 如果你俾多啲 weight 呢件事嘅話，即係 as if 係一個 overreaction， 因為即係3個月啫，咁 it's a relatively short time， 即係 as if 呢一段時間係 not sufficient。To form 一啲 substantial 嘅 relationships 或者真係 truly get to know people， 但係對我嚟講 and also to friends who share the same sentiment 就係冇嘢叫做太短時間，即係 it is a loss full stop， 因為你同呢一班人喺呢個地方喺呢個時間點 you got to meet and you got to spend every day together for 一個 short period of time, but time nonetheless, time that you won't get back, and time that 你係永遠唔會返去 experience， 就算你返去做嘢。And this is the kind of loss， 一啲好 day to day 嘅好 small but significant 嘅一啲 loss that I feel like we don't really talk enough about， 又或者 even almost 你係 feel the fear to truly experience 呢一個 loss。 So I mean only more goodbyes to come 即係 in this life, but that's okay， that's exactly what we've been talking about， 即係 the ephemerality of this life and all that's within。 我最近睇咗 Robot Dreams， 都上咗畫一段時間，係一套動畫嚟嘅，咁而成套戲其實係一句對白都冇嘅。In a nutshell， 佢係講一隻好 lonely 嘅狗仔，有一日決定買咗個機械人 set 翻嚟砌啦。咁佢砌完佢之後呢，狗仔同埋機械人就做咗最好嘅朋友啦。朋友又好，情人又好，it doesn't really matter and it doesn't really say explicitly， 因為其實狗仔同埋個機械人呢，佢哋都冇特別去描畫又或者嘗試 define 佢哋嘅性別 or whatever 嘅，即係總之就係相伴嘅兩個人啦，好 close 嘅兩個人啦。咁喺套戲裏邊，佢哋係由好 close， 因為一啲事情發生咗而變得疏遠啦，又或者 actually 係突然之間一下子佢哋由對方嘅生命裏邊消失咗啦。咁所以套戲其實大部分嘅時間都係探討緊即係 what happens then， what happens afterwards。你會 go through 一啲乜嘢嘅 phase， 一啲咩嘅 emotions 呢？ Do you try to fix it？ Do you try to 翻去好似以前咁？定係 at some point you're gonna have to learn to move on， learn to 好好 keep it in a box， 即係 everything that you had， all the memories。 我覺得佢最 moving 嘅位就係因為佢好 relatable， 即係 I'm sure everyone who has experienced some kind of loss, grief，都一定會揾到共鳴嘅一出戲嚟嘅，因為 like I said it doesn't really define what kind of relationship that is， 所以無論係 friendship， 無論係一個 romantic 嘅 relationship， family， all of it 其實都會可以感同身受到，所以 it's just a 後勁都好強嘅一套戲，只能說即係去到個結局嘅時候 it's definitely going to leave you with a sense of， 唔係我肯定應該用邊隻字，即係又唔係 exactly 係 regret，又唔係一種 emptiness， it's like yeah you're just gonna have to experience it， 但係佢 definitely 會俾到一個少少 reflection 嘅空間俾你去諗多一層，去諗多少少。I will end this segment with 一小段 from The Physics of Sorrow 呢本書啦，佢個 title 係 Things Unsuited to Collecting， 括住 A List of the Perishable。咁佢呢個 list 包括 cheeses， 因為佢哋會 start to stink 啦， apples， 因為佢哋會 shrivel up and rot， clouds because they constantly change their states of aggregation， jam 因為佢哋會 get moldy on top， lovers 因為 they get old and shrivel up， children they grow up， snowmen they melt， tadpoles and silkworms anatomically unstable。 咁佢呢個 list 嘅底部就寫到 If we draw the line, it turns out that nothing organic is suitable for collecting. A world with a permanently expiring expiration date. A perishable, shriveling, rotting, deteriorating, and thus wonderful world. Moving on to 第二個 part of 呢一個 episode， 我其實唔係好決定到應該叫佢做乜嘢，因為對我嚟講呢兩樣嘢係好基本上係同義詞嚟嘅，即係差唔多。When you think about it， the sublime 又或者 the subjective， 因為我認為啦，其實nothing is objectively sublime， 即係一個人覺得 sublime 嘅嘢，第二個人未必覺得嘅，所以其實 whether something is sublime is quite subjective。 例如啦，之前喺我哋嘅 Audionotes 度，其實 Juniper 都有分享到 maybe I'm gonna 直接將嗰段 audio 擺入嚟，等佢自己 explain 嗰個 encounter with 一個作家。
and again 令到我 appreciate 我係一個乜嘢人咧，就係2019年嘅時候，我 post 咗一個 story 就係講我喺等緊車嘅時候喺個 train station 遇到一個 author，and then 我幫佢聯佢個衫袋 ，and 佢想俾錢我，但係我冇收錢，佢就 got me like Earl Grey tea，and then we had conversations about life and all that，and 我知道佢個 author 係at the end of our conversation， 但係佢有同我講話，我有嘅嘢係一個 gift，and 佢希望我永遠都唔會 lose 嘅。So it was very funny， 因為嗰日我就 email 咗佢啦，咁佢幾個月之後佢再覆返，佢就話，因為我本來係想 meet 佢 and ask about publishing and 所有嘢 and just like in general it would be really nice to talk to him again as who I am now and 即係叫做 update。佢就覆咗個 email， 佢話with all honesty 佢唔 recall 呢一個 memory， 但係佢 happy that 喺我嘅心目中係一個 like good one and that it was special。之後佢就話但係佢 can't stand New York， 所以佢而家搬咗去 Las Vegas。之後就things are still tough， 但 at least the sun is shining here。 And then我覺得 it really is who you are， 因為that is so interesting right， 即係 just to fathom 呢個 fact that 呢啲全部 lessons 係係 who you are that makes it， 因為好多嘢對好多人都係冇意義嘅，即係 no one will look at a ray of light through the storms and 突然間evoke 到一個好 subliminal 嘅 source of beauty and whatnot 去 fully embrace 一個 moment， things like that， or to stop and 去同just a random person who have a conversation when you have the capacity to obviously, or just to be in the act of or the noble art of noticing。
我好認同一樣嘢就係其實 what we find significant 又或者 what we find sublime 其實係真係好反映到 it says more about who we are as a person than what the thing 或者 the other person objectively is。 即係例如哇我見到呢一個 sunset 好 moving 又或者我見到呢朵花呢隻雀仔呢棵草 I see so much beauty in it， 但係呢樣嘢本身就係一個 subjective experience and throughout the day 即係咁多人經過呢樣嘢，其實未必個個覺得呢樣嘢係有你賦予俾佢嘅嗰種 significance。 咁 coincidentally 呢個亦都係一個頭先提到個作者又喺嗰本書度 explore 到嘅一個 theme 啦。佢有一個小 chapter 係叫做 Buffalo shit or the sublime is everywhere。 咁佢提到佢有一次同佢爹哋行過一個 historical town 啦，咁佢爹哋喺路中間見到一個 pile of buffalo shit 喎，佢爹哋係踎低咗去 examine 呢一個 pile of buffalo shit with the same delight 同埋 degree of awe as somebody will examine 即係例如一個 Roman cathedral 啦，或者埃及嗰啲 pyramids 啊咁樣，因為佢爹哋睇到話wow it's so rare to see buffalo shit nowadays， 因為已經冇人再 breed buffaloes here anymore 咁樣啦。咁係咯，佢嗰種嘅 in awe 咧係令到作者覺得連喺個 pile of buffalo shit 上面飛緊嘅烏蠅咧，佢都形容佢為即係 a fly was circling above the pile of shit like an angel 咁樣。咁佢話 at that moment 佢就發現 wow okay so 其實 what we see in day-to-day things there's so much subjectivity in it。 咁 it is also around here where 個作者寫咗一段我都好中意嘅文字啦，又係講關於即係 finding sublimity in daily life 啦。佢話就算你唔係 born in somewhere as 即係 fancy as 可能 Paris 啊 Rome 啊，又或者啲好有歷史悠久好 cultured 嘅地方啊， the sublime will always find a form in which to appear before you。 即使你唔係飽讀詩書啊，未聽過邊個係 Kant 啊， the sublime will reveal itself to you in your own language as smoke from a chimney on a winter morning, as a slice of blue sky as a cloud that reminds you of something from another world, or as a pile of buffalo shit, the sublime is everywhere。咁講起 sublimity 同埋 subjectivity 咧，我最近都有一個叫做相關嘅經歷啦。咁其實呢度就要提一提我們的青春日誌 The Musical 香港呢一個廣東話嘅 musical。其實想喺呢一個 platform 度講好耐嘅，因為 I am 簡單啲嚟講，我已經睇咗3次啦。我係好中意嘅 I stand this endeavor。咁俾少少 background 啦。我們的青春日誌係一個叫做陳恩石嘅年青人。I feel so old， 但係我係絕對 old enough 去 address 佢 as 一個年青人。寫嘅一個音樂劇啦。咁佢係本身喺英國嗰邊讀戲劇嘅，咁但係 instead of 即係 staying in the UK 去入行啊做呢件事，佢選擇咗返香港去 create 一個廣東話嘅 musical 咁樣咯。而我們的青春日誌亦都成為咗香港第一個長壽音樂劇啊，即係一個 long running musical。即係你會諗起英國嗰邊可能有 Phantom of the Opera 啊，可能有 𝐥𝐢𝐿𝐵啊，即係呢啲都係一啲人哋喺嗰邊深刻係可以同一個 theatre 喺嗰度真係做足幾十年咁樣。咁但係喺香港其實係冇嘅 before 陳恩石，即係 somehow 就係未有人去做或者做到呢件事，而佢選擇去 take on 呢個 challenge 去喺香港 promote 呢一個音樂劇嘅文化咁樣咯。咁講起其實係因為我第3次睇呢就係同我阿妹去睇嘅。咁其實我哋兩個 share 好多 interests 同埋即係平時中意嘅嘢都幾 aligned 嘅。咁但係睇完呢套音樂劇之後呢，我哋都有一個幾 heated 嘅 discussion about呢件事咯。簡單啲嚟講就係 as much as I absolutely love this show 同埋 I honestly I stand 如果你要 objectively 咁樣去 comment 某一啲 aspects， 包括某啲 casting 啊，或者某啲 singing performances 啊， it will be a lie if 我可以話即係呢件事係完美嘅，即係一定有進步嘅空間嘅。只不過係即係喺我哋嘅 discussion 當中，我就發現我自己 value 啲咩咯，即係我係 I don't ask for 個 performance to be absolutely perfect， 而我亦都清楚知道即係我 stand 呢件事其實係有幾大嘅 subjectivity。be it好似頭先所講嘅，我係支持呢一個 endeavor of 喺香港 promote 音樂劇文化啦。咁其次就係可能例如佢講呢個 theme，去追夢，但係又要平衡追夢同埋現實嘅呢一個 theme， 甚至其他佢 touch upon 到嘅 issues， 即係包括可能 parents 同埋仔女之間嘅嗰種關係，即係好多呢一啲位都 speak to me strongly。咁其實呢個都係 subjectivity 嚟㗎。咁所以透過一個 discussion 就類似 tease out 到即係大家可能 value 嘅係乜嘢，又或者睇重嘅係啲乜嘢咯。例如咁係咪一個 show 係要各方面都勁 professional， 即係喺個石頭爆出嚟就已經係好完美啊？定係其實你係可以支持一個種子，即係你望住佢，你可以陪住佢去 witness 佢去慢慢 grow， 又或者慢慢去 evolve 咁樣。咁所以我諗去到最後，即係我只能說我依然係撐咯，我依然係覺得 I appreciate everyone in the cast， 我 appreciate 佢哋做緊嘅嘢。佢哋每次唱我有個夢嘅時候，基本上我都 I look them in the eye and I see exactly what they believe in， 即係佢哋已經唔淨係 encapsulate 個音樂劇裏邊嗰個角色咯，其實佢哋就唱緊自己嘅心聲出嚟咯。因為喺得台上面嘅呢班人，其實就係 make 咗個 choice， 呢件事係 worth it 啦 ，and 我決定我要做呢件事，所以每次睇其實都好俾佢哋嗰種熱誠、真誠打動到。So I'm still going to use this platform and recommend 呢一套音樂劇俾所有喺香港嘅人。嚟緊佢哋就嚟已經做到第500場啦 which blows my mind， 即係一定唔簡單嘅。而如果你睇 Tom 個 Instagram， 其實佢都有講過，即係一啲 he doesn't really gloss over 一啲 difficult times， 佢亦都會照直講，其實真係有需要告急嘅時候。 咁所以係咯，如果大家都支持佢個理念，又或者純粹係想睇下 what this kid is capable of doing， 都請你去買張飛入場支持下同埋睇下，因為其實我係好 impressed by a lot of things， 即係佢係有好多位我都好 appreciate 嘅，即係包括 the variety of 佢寫到出嚟嘅 numbers 啦，即係例如佢有一首可能會令我諗起 Wicked 嘅 Popular 啦，佢有一首可能會令我諗起 Dear Evan Hansen 嘅opening number 啦，即係兩位媽媽之間嘅訴苦啦，即係佢覺得 Wow, does anybody have a map？ 即係 I have no idea how to navigate parenthood 啦，又或者點樣同我嘅仔女溝通啦，係啦。咁如果睇過《我們的青春日誌》，我諗你都估到我講邊首。例如有一首 I'm not sure if I should say burlesque 啦，但係即係好 typical 嘅 show tunes 嘅咁樣嘅一個 number， 即係 it's just really fun to watch， 同埋係寫得正嘅，我覺得即係所有人都知其實廣東話詞係一啲都唔容易填嘅，但係 it just sounds good and 啲 cast 帶到上個台嘅 energy 我亦都覺得好正咯，所以係啊，記得買飛去睇，即係 I'm serious， 我覺得唔同人去睇都一定會有唔同嘅 takeaway 咯，即係 in addition to just enjoying the music and the dance and the stage performance，無論你係一個仔女或者父母或者你係為人師表嘅，我相信大家入去睇都會有嘢攞得走。咁我諗嚟到呢個 episode 最後個 part 啦， This is meant to be 一個 short episode because it's like 一個 checkpoint 啦。I guess there's not much that I want to say, but it's more like好似 Georgi 喺本書裏邊，佢有啲位咧，佢個 chapter 名直情係叫做 A Place to Stop， just a place for readers to catch up, to chill, to 就係休息一下。And I feel like this episode serves this purpose, at least for me. And I guess 如果你聽到呢個位嘅話，亦都係咯。你未必同我好熟，你未必識我，但係I always find some solace or comfort in just listening to somebody else talk. 正正就係因為 although our experiences are unique， 有啲嘢係好 universal 嘅 and it's always good to know that you're not alone on this journey. There's somebody else who might be struggling or they might be having a great day.In any case, somebody else is sharing this day with you. Somebody else is sharing this exact same sunset as you. 咁最後呢 part 其實我 draft 咗喺個 notes 度，個 title 就係 The Living, which is the broadest thing. 但係 I feel like it's appropriate， 因為我諗住我會將我哋想 put into 呢個 episode 嘅 audio notes 都擺喺最後啊，即係擺喺呢個 segment 度啦。Because it just feels like 我好難可以用一句或者揀一隻字去 conclude 或者 summarize， 即係 life 究竟係乜嘢，或者 the living 係應該係點樣，或者 how do you live right？ 但係其實呢一啲 bits and pieces， 呢一啲 audio notes 就係我哋嘅 day to day， 就係 this life that we're living。 Your life is not so much defined by 一啲大事大嘅 milestones like 畢業結婚 whatever， not so much as just the small things, the daily things， 或者 moments that you experience on your own， 或者 certain sublime moments like that single beautiful sunset that you're going to remember for the rest of your life。 最近有個 experience about life，我係想擺喺呢度講嘅。OK， 呢個 episode 係 as chaotic as 我頭先 mention 嗰本書。I swear to God, so many side corridors, so many tangential discussions。 但係最近嘅 experience 就係因為我平時其實好少嬲嘅，即係我真係好少係 genuinely 生氣。但係最近一次生氣係 over defending一個 life 啦，唔係 human patience at this time， 係我喺返工嘅途中，即係見到隻受咗傷嘅雀仔啦，咁我就擺咗佢入一個紙皮箱度 and 我就因為要返工啦，咁所以就暫時擺住喺自己個房度先啦。 context 係一個 clinic 嘅 setting 嚟嘅，咁所以 I totally understand 即係infection control 啊，或者 whatever concerns 啊，咁但係真係嬲嗰個位係 triggered by 喺睇完症之後，我見到即係 somehow everybody knew about the injured bird who was resting in a box in my room。咁我行到埋去嘅時候啦，咁就有個同事係有個 senior 係類似個 reaction 係佢係咪好病啊？即係大半點都唔係半點嘅，但係多嫌棄咁樣講。咁我都明佢嘅 concern， 只不過係佢講咗句話係咪即係好似好死咁喎，咁樣係咪死咗㗎啦咁樣。And at that moment I was like 係真係幾 triggered 同埋幾嬲啦，因為當我去幫緊呢隻雀仔嘅時候，其實 I remember so clearly， 即係我覺得佢係好 active 嘅，即係 it was injured， 但係 it was active， it was very much alive。咁所以嗰下聽到佢咁樣講，即係係咪死咗嗰陣時，我嗰下係 feel quite alone in the sense that， 即係 am I the only one who is advocating for佢嘅 life 咧？即係 why do I need to defend佢嘅 life？ Because that's what it felt like。即係 I felt like I had to stand between 嗰隻雀仔 and the rest of the world who was like mainly concerned about 我哋啲好 humanly 嘅 concerns for lack of a better word。 So yeah, that's my side corridor。 冇一個好點樣嘅 lesson to be derived from this experience, but it was a strong emotion. It was just 一個 core memory of sorts， 即係 it's just something hard to forget。 我諗呢啲事情其實係好 formative 嘅 in a sense that 雖然我都咁老啦，咁大個，但係 certain experiences in your daily life 係 still somehow speak volumes to yourself, if not to anybody else, about who you are as 一個 person。 And 當你 take the time to 停低 and 再去諗呢件事嘅時候，你就會發覺認識自己多咗咯，同埋更加有 confidence 同埋 certainty 咁樣去成為你想成為嘅人。Okay, I'm gonna end with 我最近開咗嘅一篇 notes 啦，因為最近都幾 reflective in a sense that I might be making some major changes in my life， 但係即係 in this climate and in this ever-changing world you kind of 即係需要揾到自己嘅 grounding 同埋清楚自己想要嘅係乜嘢 exactly。 So 我類似寫咗一個 list of manifestos 咁樣 just things that I know for sure。 咁 on this list I just 呢個係真係純粹係想分享咯 even if it's for 未來嘅自己咯。我亦都覺得呢個係一個幾好嘅 exercise 嚟嘅。 It's a good mental exercise to tease out from all the 雜質 that's in your life， 究竟你係一個點樣嘅人，或者你想要啲乜嘢啦。 So I'm just gonna set this in stone in the form of 呢個 podcast。 咁當然呢啲嘢會轉啦，呢啲嘢會隨住你長大同埋 experience 唔同嘢而變啦。 But at least 呢一個 list of manifestos 係 reflective of who I am today as of 2024年嘅7月咁樣。第一點我寫咗 I want to put in the work and do 或者 create something that I can declare I am proud of。 第二樣嘢就係I want to be able to travel more easily in a sense that 我希望可以 secure 到一種即係我諗 one of the most precious things in life， 亦都係 one of the harder things to obtain in life， 就係 freedom 啦 in whatever sense of the word， freedom to choose and to live as you wish 啦。咁而最後第三行我就寫咗 I want to live gently and to live intentionally， 就係咁啦。I hope everyone's doing okay, everyone's surviving, staying intact, and 希望你哋會 find some comfort in just listening to 我哋以下落嚟嘅一啲 audio notes taken from different time points in our lives。 我哋下集見。
want to share a very beautiful moment， 因為頭先我就翻咗嚟嗰陣時，我就睇咗集 Sex Education，which has been really helpful。之後突然間我 pause 咗，因為個天係 I'll send you a picture but it was so pretty。之後 I was just looking at it and I started crying， 即係唔係話真係 bawling， 但係 streaming tears 咁樣，因為 it was just 即係我覺得好容易唔記得個世界有幾大 when we're so in our heads and the issues and 一啲 intrusive thoughts。 但係 I think 有時就係我哋就算知道有 light 喺出面 sometimes for some good reason you just refuse to open the blinds and look at the world because of the fear of unknown and mystery. But it takes time to appreciate the beauty of it.
Also, I apologize for my voice because I'm sick. But I'm lucky in the sense that I got sick after my exam. 但係 for the exam 我就真係唔知，其實 I don't know， 即係 it doesn't really bother me that much。 即係你話係咪一定要點講咧？個 pressure to pass 咧，其實係好 external 嘅。如果你問我，即係會唔會話因為可能因為我本身個self-worth 或者點樣，即係其實不嬲都唔係太 bound to 我嘅 career 又或者 exam 或者點樣嘅，同埋我自己其實覺得即係喂，如果 I mean if you're ready you're ready， if I'm not ready and 我今次真係 underperform 或者點樣 I think it's more than okay to 即係 take my time and 可以年底再考，即係 kind of 係一個我自己覺得 acceptable 嘅嘢，同埋其實係好多人都係咁樣 go through 嘅，但係個 pressure 係好 external 嘅，即係 somehow 啲人係令到呢樣嘢係好 as if 你係要 there's something to prove 咁樣，即係 it sounds really conflicting but also it really isn't， 即係好似一邊想我 justify 到其實我根本唔係咁急或者咁大壓力，但係另一方面其實又係默默地有啲壓力，喂咁梗係想 pass 啦，梗係想冇事㗎啦咁樣咯。咁所以之前就即係考試前 it means a lot when you said 即係你好似 sense 到個 energy or what， 又或者係我啲 reply 太 shit 啦。But yeah it's great that you said that because 我啲同事當中都比較 chill， 同埋 like I said 我嘅 self-worth 唔係太 bound to 我嘅 career， 所以其實我好 under-prepped 嘅。咁不過我不嬲噶啦，即係不嬲都係 last minute 考試温書嘅人嚟嘅咁樣。咁但係當你 last minute 到一個點嘅時候咧，會 panic 啦，咁跟住你就 swing between 即係頭先我所講嘅好 conflicting 嘅諗法，即係究竟你想 pass 定唔 pass 啫？即係究竟你 care 定唔 care 啫？咁但係就呢一個 pendulum 係今次係 swing 得好勁嘅，我自己覺得。所以 yeah it was 一個幾 rough 嘅 week I must say， 但係 it was transient， it was self-limiting， 同埋 yeah and I really wish the same for you.
Damn, goodbyes are very hard. This email 就係 one of the things, and like you said, it's the people, and it's making me incredibly emotional. We've grown so much together, and 佢係真係 witness 我好多。你諗下，佢知道晒我所有 family 發生嘅嘢，and the pandemic and 之後我爹哋 and then pausing school and so many things in between and doing the pop-ups， 呢啲佢全部都喺度。And I think it's also this association we have with certain people that signifies 一個 closing of the chapter, and that is also a form of grief we don't talk about. And yeah, man, I am feeling it truly, and I know for you it's the same. And yeah, even if it's a shorter time, I think it's not about the time, like a connection you have with all these people where it's like you and the group of people within this environment that forms a symbiotic, like intrinsically and symbiotic relationship where they without knowing you just depend on each other, and you've been interdependent for so long until now it's like in a physical form. You have to close that chapter, and it's always bittersweet, but man, it's hard. That's yeah.
Well, also one extra thing I kind of low-key 有啲 look forward to Ephemeral 即係佢啲 poetry prompts. I really have not been writing at all, and I don't think I've ever been too good with poetry. 純粹因為即係 I write in really long and lengthy sentences. 即係 the poetry is kind of the opposite of that. 即係 not all the time, not necessarily, but essentially poetry 係你 try to I guess feel more than think too rationally, 同埋you try to distill things instead of like 成句句子有晒主語動詞 object 咁樣寫晒出嚟嘛。So I've never exactly been good at that, but I always like to try. And yeah, escape 係一個 kind of a good excuse and a good reminder to do that. So I also look forward to reading stuff you write.
你睇到個 poem 都大約知 kind of where I'm at. I don't know how to describe how I am and how I've been. It's I think at this point it's humanly impossible. I'm so tired. 因為我覺得我長期係一個 like functioning state, and I've been for so long. 我唔係好記得 how it feels like to not be in that and not feel like I'm fighting for my life. Recently it does feel like that way, like I'm actually fighting for my life. 不過 I made myself food today. That's like outside of toast or cereal, and you know how bad it is. But I'm feeling better already. 因為 I think 我可以同你講, and the fact that I'm reaching out and writing shows that I might have the urge, but I don't think I'm too close to the fire yet. 同埋by telling you and 𝐥𝐢𝐿, I think keeps me accountable for this life and the beauty I am a part of. So dude, I hope this offers you solace. 因為 I know it's really, really difficult. Like the world we live in today, it's so difficult to fade out. But yeah, if all we did was rise today, so did the sun. Something I've been trying to remember.
但係你講得啱咯，真係個 balance 嘅問題咯。即係頭先我喺度講緊，即係有時 detox 唔係一個，即係 the solution to nothing 係即係你決定一嘢 cut off 你同呢個世界嘅 connection 㗎嘛。即係 I guess 你唔應該 completely remove 你自己 from 個 social scene 啦，unless 係 for 你自己嘅 mental health 啊，又或者係 like short term 咁樣。但係我咁樣講完之後，我又自己已經好快 rebut 自己，就係因為即係我一路 insist 唔 download threads，就係因為我覺得 it's too much social media 咯。即係我同埋我唔係好想咁 passive，人哋餵咩我就食咩咯。即係人哋整一個新 app 出嚟 retain your attention，然後我又真係即刻又會 download 咯，即係照單全收咁樣。我唔係好中意呢樣嘢。但係 I feel like 的確係有少少即係 against 我嘅究竟一個人要幾 in touch with social media 或者身邊嘅人或者身邊嘅世界咧，即係 at least 網絡世界咧。咁不過我諗翻就係你嗰句 reassure 咗我咯，就係因為 it's never an extreme 咯，即係 either side 都係唔係要完全斷，但係亦都唔係要完全跟到勁貼，咁所以 I guess I still stand by 我嘅 preference of 唔 download threads 咯，like I honestly cannot， 我唔知點樣可以再 bit 到時間出嚟去 scroll 咯，and for every passing second that I scroll or like read somebody else's thread，其實我就係 lose 緊一啲我自己可以諗嘢或者睇書嘅時間咯。I'm sure 你係 totally get me on this point 啦，尤其是你而家寫緊嘢。Also like thank you so much for sharing your writing。我陣間我收工嘅時候我就會睇嘅。But yeah，我係真係 truly deeply believe that 無論如何係應該 keep writing，just keep writing man。
我頭先啱啱上完 Anthropology，and then oh my god I feel very hopeful in a way. There are various things that happen， 即係我哋個 topic 講緊 social collapse。 Something I was really happy with 就係我有講香港嘅情況啦，因為 I feel like maybe people know maybe they don't but I was happy to talk about it and 講就係話 sunk cost fallacy 入邊 this is exactly the case where 我哋失去 social resilience because we're losing faith in all the systems because it's not a gift theory where it's reciprocal。 但係我就有問佢，咁所以 I think it is a promising approach where 我哋而家嘅 focus 係 rekindling interwoven webs of relationships within the society as a collective 去 rebuild 同埋 reinforce social resilience because it's humbling, it's hopeful to know all of these civilizations 嗰陣時 with that level of technology survived and thrived under 佢哋嘅 conditions using each other as a tool 而唔係 as weapons, and that is so powerful and so liberating to experience 因為呢啲係真係發生過嘅嘢。 and there was a very good point 佢之後有講，佢就係話in history 一就係 people don't like to talk about things that didn't happen, so people don't like to talk about patterns whether stability or anything that will help us reach a solution。 第二樣嘢就係 historically things that go wrong draws way more media attention than things that go right, and in many cases其實有好多 hidden civilizations of like whether it's like climate change or social 嘅嘢 like injustices and all that, we've had many wins, so that was like a very good conversation to have instead of 一個好 suppressive 嘅嘢，因為佢話其實我哋睇得到我哋有啲 technology 㗎啦而家 like with climate change and all that, we just need 嗰個 level of resilience to make sure we push forward with that. So I think that was a good conversation to have.
But I guess if anything 即係我 learn 到 from 我哋嘅 conversations 同埋你 send 俾我嘅 Audionotes 就係其實我哋互相嘅 trouble 即係講出嚟，與其話係 stress the other out 或者點樣，其實可能係個相反，即係反而係會 bring 到個 comfort 咯 to each other。即係可能你覺得 one of the common age-old misconceptions of 即係有時啲人唔敢講自己啲 problems 啊 ，cause 驚麻煩到人，但係其實唔會咯，即係聽嗰個只會係 grateful for 你嘅 trust 咯。So I am also grateful for 你嘅 trust and the time it takes for you to tell me these things。其實我都有 I mean there's some insight 或者即係新嘅 thoughts on 我嘅 career 嘅，但係I think I can save it till we meet， 即係 when you're back， 因為唔 urgent 嘅 ，it's just 一個 it's a piece of good news， 即係 in a sense that 我好似睇清楚咗多少少我想行嘅路咁樣咯。But yeah，I guess I'll stop here。